How's it going, you big beautiful bastards? Welcome back to another career sim. I say welcome back, but this is the first video we're going to be making on Madden 24, so it's a big deal. Really excited for that. I'm a little backed up. I got to get to Jamarcus Russell, Johnny Football, and Jameis Winston, but there's 3 wide receivers I've been holding off on doing until this game came out because I knew the catch animations would be crazy, and in just playing MUT, they are so different this year. So I figured who better to start off with than a top 3 wide receiver all time in Randy Moss. He's top 3 in my opinion, at least. I'd say Jerry Rice is obviously number 1. It's not even close. And then you can kind of debate which, in like my lifetime, I put Megatron and Randy at 2 and 3. Not in any specific order, but you could also throw T.O. in there. And Larry Fitz rounds out the top 5. The 2 to 5 range can just kind of fluctuate with who gets ranked where, in my opinion. Sadly, too, with this game being new and a classic EA style, I could not edit his equipment at all, so that is what he is looking like. I did get to change his face, but it wouldn't let me change his face mask or anything. He's currently 21 years old, like he was when he entered the draft. I didn't mean to click edit appearance. I thought that was save and continue. As you can see, coming out of the draft, he's currently the 3rd ranked receiver behind Doug Hewitt and Marvin Harrison. He is currently coming out of the draft at an 80, whereas Marvin Harrison Jr. is an 84. He's a projected 23rd overall pick, where in real life he was the 21st overall pick in 1998. And you know, I went to the Texans because that was just kind of like my go-to last year, start every time on the Texans because they always had the number 1 overall pick, but they went 9 and 8, and they're not going to have the number 1 pick, so now we gotta go find out who does. The Miami Dolphins have picked number 1, which must mean Tua got like 7 concussions this season and missed majority of the season for that to be a thing. So number 1 obviously isn't going to be Randy, especially to the Miami Dolphins. They take Glenn Jackson. Commanders get Scotty Williams. Where's Caleb Williams? The Vikings have like 2 top tier receivers. The Vikings get Caleb Williams. Okay, bye-bye Kirk. The Saints, oh please let him end up in New England, please. Oh, why they take the other receiver? Why do you do this to me? The Bengals could use it. Actually, no, they have T and Jamar. No, they couldn't. And he's going to Cincinnati to team up with Joe Burrow. That's so insane, as they're going to have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Randy Moss. Unless maybe they lost T. Higgins and Randy's coming in to take his spot, but they obviously didn't lose Jamar Chase. Hi, Zach. He's getting screwed. Okay, Jamar is a 96. Joe's a 97. Joe Mixon is still here. T. Higgins is still here. And Randy Moss is wide receiver 4, as they still have Tyler Boyd. They also still have Irv Smith Jr. Why did this team take a receiver? I'm not going to complain, though, because he could win a Super Bowl in his rookie year. Just his stats aren't going to look the best. He could progress past Tyler Boyd, though, throughout this season. That just depends on how much they utilize him and they run 4 wide receiver sets. Cincinnati, what happened? They went 7 and 10, finished bottom of the division with the number 3 ranked passing offense, but the number 31st ranked defense. Joey B threw for 4,629 touchdowns. We'll look at receiving. I don't imagine Randy's going to be very high on that list, as there's 3 receivers ahead of him on the depth chart. Yeah, Randy Moss had 1 catch for 6 yards. I don't even want him to be on this team anymore. I thought it was so cool that he came here and Tyler Boyd just screwed the whole thing. Hopefully Tyler Boyd's gone next year. I'm sorry, Bengals fans. I know he's a longtime player for you guys. So he is currently still receiver 4, as Jamar is still here at a 98. Joey B is now a 99. T. Higgins is a 92. Tyler Boyd stayed at an 83 as Randy went up to an 82, even though he only had 1 catch. Irv Smith is now an 80, so there's a chance that he takes over that receiver 3 role by the end of this season. There you go. They turn it around a little bit, go 10 and 7 this year, make the playoffs. We'll take a look at if Randy really did anything. I can see Joe's stats right there on the side. He had 4,600 yards and 34 touchdowns. Once again, Randy is nowhere to be seen on here, as he had 2 catches for 30 yards. So these first 2 seasons for Randy Moss, he is not doing very much, but that is just a credit to the fact that they're not using him. We'll jump in and watch this playoff game, despite the fact Randy probably won't see the field very much. You know, the Jets are 11 and 6. They're playing in MetLife. Randy Moss is actually the 3rd player on their top players list, yet he barely touches the field for some reason. Okay, MetLife looks beautiful in this game with the fireworks going off. What the hell was that? The game has continued to be tied since early in the 3rd, and now it is 17 to 20 here with 30 seconds left in the 4th. The Bengals have the ball. Joe is out there under center. Randy Moss isn't on the field for some reason. You know, you got T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. There's Jamar. Over the middle, he finds T. Higgins for a gain of 8. Randy once again not on the field. Joey B dropping back to throw. Hits T. Higgins, who drops the ball. And now time for the Hail Mary, where once again, I don't even think Randy Moss is on the field. He needs to get out of here, since he is just not using him at all. He gets to the sidelines there with 2 seconds left. Joey B is going to have to chuck up a Hail Mary to try and win this game. And here we are again with once again, no Randy Moss on the field. Joey B is dropping back to throw, and he just throws it quick, and that's the game. They're going home. Why not use Randy Moss? You have Randy Moss. Okay, so this is still a glitch in the game where it doesn't end the game like that. I have to end it regularly because it's EA. They don't fix anything. So though this has been mid so far, if you guys are enjoying, you can feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Like I always say, that choice is yours. I was just taking a sip of my Red Bull though and thought I'd mention that because I usually do about a couple seasons in. But we're moving into year 3 now, and hopefully he's going to actually get a chance to see the field more than he has the past 2 seasons, with him potentially being a higher overall than Tyler Boyd now, because he did go up 2 overall his rookie season despite not playing, so I'd imagine he went up a little bit in his second year even though he didn't really play. As we look at this, Randy Moss is still receiver 4 despite being a higher overall than Tyler Boyd. I'm tired of it. Tyler Boyd, you're getting released. I'm sorry, Bengals fans. There's nothing I can do. He's done. He's gone. I'm okay with keeping him under Higgins and Chase because it makes sense that he's that young, but I'm not okay with keeping him under Tyler Boyd even though Tyler Boyd's regressing and an 11-year veteran. I didn't mention the overalls. Joey B was still a 99. I think Jamar was now a 99. T. Higgins was up to a 94, and now Randy Moss was an 83, I think, as he's finally receiver 3 on this team. Year 3, they go 11-6. They don't manage to win the division though, as the Ravens go 12-5. This defense really seems to be what's holding the team back, as the passing offense was ranked 4th and total offense was 3rd, but the defense was 24th. Joey B could potentially be MVP this season with 4,500 yards, 47 touchdowns, and 9 picks. Receiving, you finally had Randy coming into his own in year 3 with 80 catches, 1,084 yards, and 18 touchdowns. In the offensive player of the year race, he ends up finishing 7th. He doesn't win. Maybe he did win best receiver with T. Higgins right behind him as the Bengals duo minus Jamar Chase. Take that award away. Not that you really get a trophy for that one, but it's still a cool one to have. He also basically ties for 3rd now with a million other people with 18 touchdowns in a single season with receiving touchdowns. As they now go into the playoffs, they're going to be playing Josh Allen and the Bills. The cover boy for Madden, it's a little scary playing against him because I'm almost willing to guarantee AI Josh Allen is a different kind of animal. Bills are currently up by 13 now as we go into the 4th quarter, and now they're up by 21, and it's not looking good for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. They do score again though. Now it's an 8-point game. This defense needs to make a stop, and they don't, maybe, and the game's over. Never mind, I thought they were going to get the ball back. So they end up losing by 8. They tried to bring it back in the end. It wasn't enough. Both quarterbacks, funny enough, threw 266 and 2 touchdowns. Receiving, Jamar had 12 catches for 140. You go down here, you had Randy with 6 catches for 41 and a touchdown. So in his first real season as a solidified starter, he pops off, but it's not good enough to get them out of the wild card round. As the curse for the Bengals continues, even though they did make a Super Bowl a few years prior. As we go into year 4, Joey B still has his X factor at a 99. Jamar's a 99. T. Higgins is up to a 96, and Randy is an 89. As 3 wide receivers on this team have X factors. Irv Smith is an 81. Oh, they lost Joe Mixon. That's not great. As we go to year 4, I imagine they pick up his 5th-year option, meaning we have this season and next probably still in Cincinnati before he could possibly jump ship to another team. In year 4, the team misses the playoffs. They went 8-9. They had the number 6 ranked passing offense, but the number 20 ranked defense and number 32 ranked rushing offense. Clearly losing Joe Mixon was a detriment to this team coming into this year. We'll see how our boy did, and that is basically the extent of year 4, and then we go on to year 5. Joe Cool threw for 4,500, 41 touchdowns and 3 picks. That is a crazy touchdown interception ratio, 41-3. Receiving wise, you kind of had Jamar take over this year with 100 receptions for 1,200 yards and 13 touchdowns. Randy right below him with 992 receiving and 10 touchdowns on 65 catches. Best wide receiver goes to Amari Cooper. Jamar Chase is here. Randy Moss is down there in 6th, so he doesn't win any yearly awards this year as we move into year 5 now. Now, as we go into year 5, you can see Jamar is still a 99, so is Joe Cool. T. Higgins lost his X Factor. He's now a 97, and Randy is up to a 92 as he's still receiver 3, but remains an X Factor player. They did draft a running back too, so hopefully that helps out the running game. Irv Smith is still an 81. He stayed there for the past 3 seasons. I'm hoping to get this video up by Sunday. I'm actually recording this on a Saturday. There's UFC fights tonight, and all my friends from my hometown are coming up to watch the fights at the apartment. On top of that, there's a Steelers preseason game at 6:30 today that I gotta watch, because according to Mike Tomlin, that the Steelers starters are gonna play a little more, and I'm trying to see Joey Porter Jr. So I'm hoping that I do find the time to get this edited and up by Sunday. That is still up in the air. If not, it'll come out Monday, even though that's when I start my new job. What is wrong with this team? What is happening? The number 3 ranked passing offense, number 5 ranked offense overall, but everything else is red. They went 7-10. The Steelers won the division at 8-9. Joe Burrow threw 4,500 540 touchdowns. See, the numbers are a lot more realistic this season, I'm noticing in Sims. 40 touchdowns to 4 picks for Joe. He's just an animal. This year, T. Higgins took it over and was the leading receiver on the team, followed by Jamar, with Randy in third with 77 catches for 953 and 11 touchdowns. He's putting up numbers when it comes to touchdowns. He was obviously the third best receiver on his team, so he's not going to win this, but Traylon Burks does, as all 3 of the Bengals receivers are on here. And well, now he has an opportunity to leave, but I imagine this team will re-sign him with how he's performed and with this stacked receiving core they have. But that also comes down to money issues, because there's gonna run out of salary cap having to pay Joe Burrow and 3 X-Factor receivers. As we go into year 6, you can see Randy is still here. He's up to a 94 overall now. Take a look. There are his career stats so far. We'll go look at his contract, where he re-signed on a 3-year deal worth just about $40 million. Jamar and Joe Cool are still 99s. T. Higgins is all the way up to a 98, as Irv Smith is starting to regress. The rookie running back they drafted actually got replaced by a new 79 overall running back as we go through to the playoffs in year 6. This team is in shambles. I don't know what I expected when he got drafted by the Bengals, but it wasn't this. They go 10-7 and somehow still miss the playoffs, as the Ravens won the division at 14-3, but they had the number 1 ranked passing offense and number 2 ranked total offense. Joe Burrow threw 4,800 yards and 47 touchdowns. That's your league MVP right there, as he's first in every stat. Jamar had 1,200 for 8 touchdowns. Randy Moss had 1,200 yards and 18 touchdowns on 74 catches. That is his second season now with 18 touchdowns. He is chasing that record that I think is actually his. I'm pretty sure the real life Randy Moss has the record for most receiving touchdowns in a season with 21, which he does. It's actually 23, not 21, as he's now had 18 twice. You can see right here. Yearly awards, you're going to get Joe Burrow as MVP. We're going to go to AFC Offensive Player of the Year. You get Lamar. Randy Moss was in third. Those we go to Best Wide Receiver. You do get Randy Moss winning his second best wide receiver in his career, so he's now won 2 yearly awards at least, but he hasn't even won a playoff game yet. So now as we go into year 7, Joe Burrow's regressed down to a 98. Jamar Chase is a 99. T. Higgins regressed to a 95, and Randy Moss is now receiver number 2 at a 96. And Irv Smith Jr. isn't even the starting tight end anymore. That rookie they drafted, Davis, has stepped up to be the starting running back on this team. We'll see if they can finally make the playoffs again. They've been pretty disappointing so far for having a stacked receiving core like they do. I think it's an issue of they're spending too much money on offense and none on defense, because this defense has been absolutely terrible. Now all of a sudden they're the number 1 seed. They've been terrible for how long, and now they're the number 1 seed with the number 1 ranked passing offense, number 3 ranked total offense. They went 14-3. Like, they missed the playoffs like 3 or 4 years in a row now, and all of a sudden they're the number 1 seed out of nowhere, as Joe Burrow threw for 5,300 yards and 44 touchdowns and is probably winning back-to-back MVPs. Jamar Chase may have just had the greatest receiving season you will ever see in the history of your life, with 118 catches for almost 2,000 yards and 29 touchdowns. Randy Moss is behind him in yards by a mile, but he still had 1,200 yards with 6 touchdowns on 102 catches. I've never seen numbers like that. Jamar Chase might be your league MVP. It's going to be Joe Burrow, obviously, but it should be Jamar Chase. It's Bryce Young. What? Offensive Player of the Year is Jamar Chase, as it should be. Best wide receiver is also going to be Jamar Chase, as it should be. I don't even know how to react to those kind of numbers. That is out of this world kind of shit. Now going into the divisional round, they are going to play Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have to come to Cincinnati, as they were the 1 seed, and as you can see, that offensive trio of Burrow, Chase, and Randy Moss is the top 3, with T. Law, Trayvon Walker, and Andre Sisco as the top 3 for the Jags. Oh my god, it's a snowy game. This is insane. This is going to be wild. This is going to be something different. Jamar's probably about to have 300 yards receiving in the snow. As we're tied. Okay, never mind. We're not tied. The Bengals are down here going into the 4th. We're going to have an opportunity to jump in and maybe see Randy get some action, do something maybe. It is 2nd and 10. They are past the 50. Joe comes out in the shotgun. You can see Randy down there on the bottom of the screen at an 84. It is going to be a pass as he runs the running back out in motion. Randy is running underneath. Oh my god, Joe Burrow just threw a dime to the running back, and there's a flag. Is that a face mask? It is a face mask. Okay, so now they are down to just about like the 5-yard line, because that's half the distance to the goal, and it is the 5-yard line. You can see once again Moss on the bottom of the screen with Jamar there. T. Higgins up top. Joe can really throw to whichever one, but he's actually going to hand it off, and this 79 overall running back is going to get it into the end zone to give the Bengals the lead. Raymond Davis, I don't know, one of the two. This defense doesn't look like they're going to stop him, so the Bengals offense is going to have to come out and score again now with 3.5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. There's Joe. You can see Randy and Jamar lined up top. Jamar is in the slot. Randy's up top. Randy's running deep. Joe could just chuck this up to him, but he's actually throwing over the middle where he finds Jamar Chase. That was more towards the sideline than over the middle. So once again, you can see Randy and Jamar up there on the top of the screen. Joe is in the shotgun. He could hand this one off, but he doesn't. Randy's cutting over the middle. Burrow's rolling out, throws back across his body where it could have easily been intercepted. They do, oh no, a field goal can tie it. I was going to say a touchdown gets them the lead, a field goal ties it, as Randy is not, oh, Randy's in the slot this play. He is on the field. Okay, I didn't see him at first. The snow hid the X factor. Burrow's dropping back. He actually throws to T. Higgins and it's intercepted. Oh, Joe Cool just threw. This defense does manage to make the stop. Trevor Lawrence gets sacked by Miles Murphy, and now they have to punt. So now with under 2 minutes to go and one timeout, the Bengals get the ball back. You have Randy on the top by himself. Jamar and T. Higgins at the bottom. He's dropping back. He hits T. Higgins quick, who ends up dropping the pass. Here's Joe again, dropping back to throw out of the no huddle. He's got nowhere to go with it, and he's going to eat a sack, and that's going to run a lot of time off the clock, and it does. Joe comes out in the shotgun once again. Randy on the top of the screen. Joe has no time back there at all, but he finds Jamar on the out route. I don't see Randy Moss on the field on this play. Maybe he's tired, and this is a bad play to not have your best receiver in, but that guy dropped it. Okay, as now we have a 4th down and 8, and once again, I do not see Randy Moss or Jamar Chase even on the field at all. This is a big mistake out of this team. Joe B has all day back there to throw. He lines it up, and he gets the 1st down on 4th and 8 without having his best receivers in the game. And now running no huddle still, so there's no time to substitute Jamar and Randy back in. He does complete that one towards the sideline, and the receiver gets out of bounds, so now you can get Randy and Jamar back in the game. Now you do have your best 2 receivers in. Randy and Jamar are down there, but Joe ends up handing it off, and they're playing for the field goal for some reason. He runs no huddle. Joe can get this snap off. He's got Randy lined up in the slot there. Snap the ball, Joe. They take the timeout. They're playing for overtime. I love that that's still not fixed. And the kick is up, and obviously the kick is good, and we're going to overtime because, you know, with 11 seconds on the clock back up to the line, you don't snap it and try and run one play. No, you run the time off the clock so that you have to kick the field goal and send it to overtime instead of trying to win. Now the Jags just have to get down the field and score, and the game is over, and they are basically in position to score, and they're going home. The number 1 seed loses in the divisional round, and they still are yet to win a playoff game with Randy Moss. Burrow threw 431, 4 touchdowns, and the 1 interception we saw. T-Law threw 358 and 5 touchdowns. Receiving, Jamar Chase is his favorite receiver. He got 221 receiving and 3 touchdowns. Randy had 3 catches for 63 and no touchdowns. I don't know what this team is doing wrong, but they're doing something wrong because they can't seem to win a playoff game to save their life, and they always manage to throw it away. Like, they had that game in the palm of their hands. Okay, Joe is really starting to regress as he's down to a 95. Jamar Chase is a 98. Randy Moss is up to a 97. T. Higgins is down to a 90 as he's nearing the end. Davis is now a silver, and our boy Nicholson up here is an 81. This is year 8. It's the last season on his contract as well, so after this, he could leave Cincy or he resigns and probably finishes out his career here. In year 8, they're once again back in the playoffs, though, as they went 10-7. The Ravens took the number 1 seed from them, I'm assuming, as they went 14-3. We'll take a look at how Randy did along with Joe Burrow. Burrow had 4,600 yards and 45 touchdowns. He's been first and second in passing yards and touchdowns for like 6 seasons in a row. Once again, Jamar Chase completely taking over with 1,600 yards and 24 touchdowns. T. Higgins had 83 catches for 1,108 touchdowns. Randy actually had his least productive year in a while with 870 and 4 touchdowns. That could mean, though, leaning into that there's a potential Randy Moss leaves after this season and goes to play somewhere else, as they go into play the Raiders with Josh Jacobs, Mad Max as always, and Deion Pleasant. I just think this team is destined to not win a playoff game. They're in the 3rd quarter down 21-3, and they just gave the ball back to the Raiders, who went down and scored again. So now it's 28-10, and yeah, it's over. It's 31-17 with a minute left. 34-17 is the final score. The Bengals are just cursed. They're not meant to win. So hopefully Randy decides to leave after that, as Joe Burrow threw 298 and 2 touchdowns. Justin Agnew is the quarterback for the Raiders, threw 254 and 2 touchdowns. Go to receiving, you had Randy Moss with 10 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. Jamar had 7 catches for 106 and a touchdown. So realistically, he either stays in Cincy and continues this legacy of one of the greatest receiving cores you will ever see in the history of the league, or he jumps ship and breaks that receiving core apart, letting that legacy be questioned. He did decide to re-sign. He is down to a gold, though. He lost his X factors. He's a 97 overall, which might be his peak. He might never get to hit that 99 point. He re-signed on a 4-year deal, so he's basically here, I'd say, till the end of his career, as this is year 9, so that's basically till year 13. Burrow is still an X factor to 92. Jamar has even regressed to a 97, and T. Higgins is finally gone. That's a bad sign for this team. T. Higgins leaving kind of did break up that receiving core. Go going 10-7 this year. They end up winning the division as the Steelers and Ravens both went 10-7 as well, but the Bengals must have had the better divisional record. Number 8 ranked passing offense as it finally regresses a little bit. Number 14 ranked total offense. Number 10 ranked total defense. This team has the potential. Maybe this is the year that they finally decide to make that push. Burrow finally declined a little bit with 4,200 yards. 35 touchdowns to 1 interception is still wild to me. Jamar had a year once again with 1,200 yards and 11 touchdowns. Randy had 999 yards receiving with 7 touchdowns. Right on that 999. That's crazy he doesn't hit that 1,000-yard mark. He needed 1 more yard. It's actually kind of funny. He got 999 in his 9th season. It's taken this long and they're still yet to win a playoff game, but it's looking good so far as they're up 21-7. 28-7. Okay, yeah, this is it. They're finally going to win a playoff game. I'm so proud. They finally won a playoff game, 31-21. It took 9 seasons of Randy Moss to finally win one as Joe Burrow threw 290 and 3 touchdowns. The Herberts 268 and 2 touchdowns. You go to receiving, you had Jamar Chase with 110 and a touchdown. I don't even see Moss very high on this list, but he did have 4 catches for 29 and did get a touchdown. And now as they go into the divisional round, they play the Buffalo Bills, who I'd imagine still have Josh Allen at quarterback. If they don't, I'd be a little surprised, and I'm curious as to who it is. Of course, it's a snowy game in Buffalo. Buffalo scores first, and now the Bengals got to get the ball down the field, or they just let Buffalo make a field goal. 34-3 is going to be, 34-6. Okay, they tried. This team's bad. Zach Taylor might just not be that guy. He might not be a great coach. Burrow threw 185 and no touchdowns. This Callum Cooper, that's the Bills quarterback. He threw 292 and a touchdown. Player stats with only 185 passing. I'm almost willing to bet most of that's to Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase had 61 receiving. Randy had 40. So now we go into year 10, where this team continues to struggle in the playoffs. There is not an ounce of anything going on in the playoffs for them. Having finally won a playoff game, the team gets a major morale boost that puts both Chase and Randy Moss at 99s, but Moss is all the way down to a silver. Burrow is an 89 now. Nicholson, the tight end, is up to an 86. The running back is an 82. So now we go through year 10 and we see if this team is able to put the pieces together, maybe win another playoff game, or if they miss the playoffs completely, because they've been pretty good at doing that so far. Yeah, I just had to say something about them missing the playoffs, because they went 7-10 and did that, but they had the number 1 ranked passing offense, number 27 ranked total defense. This defense has been what's failed this team this entire simulation. Joe Burrow once again led the league in passing yards and passing touchdowns despite being an 89 overall and regressing. Jamar Chase once again led this team in receiving yards with 1,500 yards and 18 touchdowns. Randy had 928 and 4 touchdowns. Not the greatest season. The Jamar Chase thing is just, he's been outshining him. As now we go into year 11, I can't believe how good Jamar has been. That's insane. The team's morale is still pretty boosted as Randy and Jamar are both 98, so technically both 95s as of right now because they're up 3 overalls with morale. Joe went back up to a 90. Young, the running back, is an 83, and Nicholson is up to an 87. So the offense is still there. It's just this defense has been letting them down. So they really need to step it up this season to get Randy and Joe Burrow a chance at a Super Bowl, along with Jamar Chase. I can't forget Jamar. So back-to-back years of 7-10, as in year 11, they missed the playoffs again with the 9th ranked passing offense, number 19 ranked total offense, and the 29th ranked defense. This defense, they put too much money in the offense. Joe Burrow isn't first in either yards or touchdowns this season, which means maybe Jamar didn't put up insane numbers. No, he had 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns. Randy had 1,002 with 4 touchdowns. Just in case he decides to go away, we're going to look at his career stats real quick. We're going to do that every season now for the next couple seasons. Jamar has 18,000 yards receiving and 179 touchdowns in his career, whereas Randy has 9,282 touchdowns, so he needs a big season next year to crack that 10,000 yard mark, but he's nowhere near his real life stats, I don't think. So it is now year 12. It's the last year on his contract. I don't know why I thought it went to 13, but it's actually year 12 as Jamar Chase is gone and he's now the number 1 receiver on this team. Joe Burrow is also gone, so they are going to suck. You also have Banfield now at running back. You have Mallard at receiver 2, and Nicholson is still here. This team is not going to be good. You lost basically the best quarterback in the franchise's history and the guy who had cemented himself as the best receiver in the franchise's history. Yeah, as I figured, they were pretty bad. They went 6 6 and 11, the number 14 ranked passing offense, 23 ranked total offense. This team fell apart the moment Joe Cool went away. Seth Stevens threw for 4,023 touchdowns. Those are nowhere near Joe Burrow numbers. We'll look at receiving, where Randy did finally have a pop-off year with 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns. In the best receiver race, he ends up finishing 4th, so he was at least back on an awards list this season. He didn't win anything, and now he is going to be a free agent, or he's going to retire. Let's see what happens. First, we'll look at his career stats, though. He's got 825 career catches for 10,723 yards and 92 touchdowns, so he's still just short of that 100 touchdown mark. If he plays one more season, he'll probably get it. So yeah, they did end up re-signing him, as he is down to an 87 overall because he's got a +4 morale boost. He re-signed on a 3-year deal. Okay. I figured we were a lot closer to the end of his career, but he is down to an 87. This team is bad, but he's back on a 3-year deal with a chance to boost his stats a little more, but probably not win a Super Bowl. So along with him being a 91 from his morale boost, you still have Stevens at an 80. You have Banfield here at an 81. Now you have McDonald over here at receiver 2. He's a 79, and Nicholson is still here, as he has also regressed, as he's an 84 with the morale boost. How this team is managing to keep morale boosts despite never winning anything is beyond me, but it's happening. It's working. Yeah, this team's not winning anything for Randy. They went 6 and 11, number 16 ranked passing offense, but genuinely the last ranked offense overall. I figured getting drafted to this team was doing him a favor, and it just not done a damn thing for him, as he wasn't even the best receiver on the team this year, but he did have 86 catches for 1,050 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's crazy. He's going to be at 99 touchdowns when we look at his career stats. He is one short of 100, and there it is. He is at 11,782 yards and 99 touchdowns on 911 catches. As now we move forward into what I think is year 14, and he's not here as we go into year 14. I'm pretty sure he retired after all those abysmal seasons, so thankfully we looked at his career stats. We'll go take a look at the legacy score and see what happened. We'll take a look at the retirement list here. We'll just scroll down and make sure, and there it is. After 13 years in the NFL, Randy Moss calls it a career. 13 abysmal seasons where they only had one playoff win, I think, the entire time he was on that team. Randy Moss's career didn't go the way you'd expect it. We didn't even really get to see him play, which kind of bums me out because I wanted to show off the catch animations and everything in this, but that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. I will be working on a couple other sims coming up. Like I said, I got Jamarcus Russell, Johnny Football. I still want to do Megatron. I got to do Jameis Winston. I got to do Jerry Rice. So there's a couple big ones on the way. I also want to start getting MUT content out, but that is at a later time. That is going to be it for the video though, guys. If you guys did enjoy, as I always say, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. That choice, as always, is your guys's. But thank you all for watching. It has been fun. I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.